Hi there. My name is Amanda Williamson, and I'm the Young Adult Services Manager here at the Bees Ferry West Ashley branch. And today we are going to be talking about summer jobs for teens. So when we think of summer jobs, I think we automatically think about the person at the cash register at our local McDonald's, or a waiter or waitress at our favorite sit-down restaurant, or maybe we, run to one of our favorite retail stores and we see one of the cashiers there. Those are some of the most common jobs that high schoolers can usually get that are entry level. But I'm also going to touch on some other little gems that might align with your own interests and likes. If you're looking to, say, branch out. So I'll cover basic ones that are common in some of our most favorite establishments, but also I'll be covering some maybe not so well-known summer teen jobs that could be available for you this summer as well. So I will say that the majority of these jobs do have certain things in common. Some have different requirements, different age requirements or degree requirements or no degree requirements, but I will say that the majority of these jobs, the median age hire is usually 16, but you'll see that on this list, some are a little bit younger, some are a little bit higher. It just depends on the company and the organization. So I'm going to touch on which ones hire a little bit younger, hire a little bit older. So you'll see. Most of these, or all of these, will pretty much pay minimum wage. You're guaranteed that, except for a waiter and waitress. That one's a little bit different. And if not, they'll actually pay a little bit more. So you'll see that too. Most of these will offer part-time and full-time hours. So maybe if you're looking to just work either or during the summer, hopefully you'll have that option when you do go to apply, depending on the organization. Most of these jobs will require you to work on the weekends, whether it's every other weekend or maybe even every weekend. It just, again, depends. And then for the last one, the majority of these, you don't need a high school diploma or GED. You don't need to be graduated yet to do these. But there are some that do, because I'm sure there are some teens who are going to be watching this video that maybe are just about to graduate and they have a fresh new diploma and they're looking for a summer job themselves before maybe they go off to college, or they're looking to start exploring some career options. So that's what I'm going to kind of get into today. So we will start with probably the most common industry that a lot of, I would say, high schoolers go to start working, which is the fast food industry. So we think of McDonald's and Zaxby's and Sonic's and things like that. So some of the, I'd say probably the first positions you'll end up working if getting a job at one of these establishments, first one is a cashier. So as a cashier, whether you're working up front at the store or in the drive-thru, some of the things that you can expect to do is welcome and greet customers, take food and drink orders. You're going to bag those food and drink orders. You're going to process transactions on the cash register, and you're going to keep the dining room and the bathrooms clean as well. For the age requirement, usually what they hire, the minimum age is usually anywhere from 15 to 16. Each organization is different, so when you do apply, I would say just reach out to your local establishment and just ask and see what the minimum age requirement. But it's usually 15 to 16. My first job, I was 15. I worked at Zaxby's and I did all those things, and it was a really fun job. So for another position, maybe you're not quite ready to interact with customers, so you could be a line cook if you wanted. The minimum age on this, I think, is 16. Again, it depends, but basically what you're doing is prepping and cooking the food. So you're in the back, you're the one making those really nice hot fries ready to go out, and you're making the burgers. And on the prep line, you're the one putting the orders together. So if someone ordered a Big Mac, you're assembling the Big Mac after the food has been cooked. So that's usually what you're doing for a line cook. So for fast food, those are two very entry-level common where they'll usually put you if you were to get hired at a fast food joint. One other position under fast food that I think is a little bit more of an exception. So the requirement age for this is 16 to 18, and you have to have a reliable vehicle and valid driver's license, and that is a delivery driver. So now we're thinking like Pizza Hut or Papa John's. So you could be running orders out all night to homes, residencies, and commercial organizations. But as long as you usually have your valid driver's license and a reliable car, this is a job to kind of, get you out on the road for your position. So it's kind of cool if you like sitting in your car all day. So Okay, so that is pretty much it for the fast food restaurants. Now we're gonna move on to the sit-down restaurants and what kind of positions that you could possibly do there. I think what we automatically think is a waiter or waitress, but there are two other options. And one of them is a hostess. So maybe you're not quite ready to take on the hustle and bustle of being a waiter or a waitress. That's a lot of multitasking, which is, it's a great job and you make great tips. But with a hostess, it's a little bit low key. I think it's a good starter point that if you're not used to working in a very fast paced environment, that it's good to be able to work in this position and kind of observe. So as a hostess, the minimum age requirement for this is usually 16. What you'll do is greet and welcome customers, you'll seat customers, you'll take reservations, you'll answer the phones, you'll work the cash register and process transactions at some places, you'll sell gift cards, you might even roll some silverware for the waiters and waitresses. So, you're the first thing that everybody sees when they walk into that restaurant. So they definitely want somebody who's very friendly and smiley. So if that sounds like you, this might be the job for you. So the next position is probably the most common one everybody thinks of is a waiter or a waitress. Usually you have to be 16 to do this job. Again, every establishment is different, but that's usually the median age. And in this job, it's basically what you see when you go to your local sit-down restaurant, that as a waiter or waitress, you're gonna wait on customers, you're gonna take food and drink orders, you're going to complete transactions on the cash register, you're going to pre-bus the table. So if you don't know, pre-busing means that if they got done with their appetizers or salads, you're gonna clear those plates before the main entrees come out. You're going to work small parties, anywhere from a two-top, and then you can work big parties where maybe it's Christmas and the family's getting together and you have 15 people walk in. And usually with that, depending how skilled you are, they'll let you do a whole party like that by yourself, or they'll give you another waiter or waitress will go with you, and you usually split the party, so it depends. And let's see what else. You will also, of course, have to be knowledgeable on the menu. So they'll ask you maybe what the special is or what's on an entree. You have to know that. And opening and closing duties. So that could be something like rolling silverware, making sure the tables are preset, and maybe also refilling like condiments that you might see ketchup or salt and pepper on the table. You'll usually refill those before the shift starts. So that's what you can usually expect with being a waiter or waitress. This job is unique in a sense that you are not paid minimum wage. You're usually paid anywhere from $2 to $3 an hour. And then it could be a little bit higher now, but that was back in my day. And you make the majority of your money from tips. So the harder you work, the more you're smiling, you get those tips. I say just enjoy what you do, but that's my take on that. And the final position that maybe some people don't think of is being a busser. So this is, you're not working on the main floor, you're working in the back. So basically when a table leaves, you go and clean the tables off. You take a basin out and you take off all the silverware and the plates, all that stuff, and you run it back to the dishwasher person, and you help to reset tables, and you assist the waiter or waitress if they're in a busy moment also. So if you're looking for something maybe a little bit out of the public eye, maybe that's a really good one for you. All right, so that's fast food industry. So those are some things to think about, so that if you didn't know of what kind of positions kind of laid in those organizations, maybe those are some to think about. So now we're going to move on to grocery stores. So there's actually a few positions here, and again, depending on the organization, it just depends on the hiring age, but I've done a little bit of homework. Publix actually hires as young as 14, depending on the position, and I'll touch on some of those. So a grocery store, the first thing that comes to mind is being a cashier. And so you're stationed at the front, you're gonna be weighing and scanning and packaging groceries. You're gonna be greeting and assisting customers, processing transactions, maybe applying coupons and things like that, keeping your work area clean and aspects like that. So, you're kind of, say, stationed there. It's not a very mobile job. So hopefully you kind of like the routine of something like that to want to do something like that. For a grocery store cashier, again, it depends on the organization. It could be as young as 14 to even 16 years old. The next one is called a stock clerk or a stocker. So again, if you're not quite ready to maybe interact with the public, this one's a little bit more methodical, that you are literally stocking the shelves with product. And the minimum age for this is usually 16. This is kind of a unique job because most of these jobs you're gonna work either maybe in the not too early morning, like 10 a.m., the afternoon, and maybe even at night from like 7 to 9. And with a stocker, they could call you in after closing hours or before opening hours because they want to get the store stocked. So you could, and usually most of these stocker positions will list the times that they're looking for. So if you see one that's from like 10 p.m. to like 3 in the morning, which they do exist, and you're like, no, that's not for me, then that's obviously, not for you. But hopefully there are stocker positions that are during normal hours as well. So, but you are responsible for packaging, processing, and stocking products according to grocery standards, cleaning work areas, providing customer service if someone was to stop you on the floor with a question, unloading stock, and pulling salvage. So that means pulling items that are about to expire or are expired. So it's kind of a methodical thing that you kind of just got to get into your rhythm and do. So those are a couple of positions. Another one that you can do is front service clerk or a bagger. So you can be as young as 14 to do this job, I believe at Publix. And with this, you're gonna, as you know, the cashier is ringing everything up. You're gonna bag those items and you're gonna help take those to the cars for the customer. You're gonna retrieve carts from the parking lot, get a little exercise in there, and you might maybe clean the front of the store, like keep it swept and wipe things down. So it's a pretty, I would say that's probably your most basic level entry job at a grocery store, and you kind of don't know where to start. And the last one, so the age on this, it's gonna depend on the department in a grocery store. So you have what's called like a floral clerk, a produce clerk, a bakery clerk. So when we go into the grocery store and we see all these different sections and all these different people working different things, some people are hired in specific departments. Like for bakery, for instance, if you're working as a bakery clerk, you're gonna help the main baker in that department maybe pipe some icing on cakes and putting out desserts and stuff like that. Doesn't that sound fun? And the floral clerk, you might prepare floral arrangements for somebody and bring up those transactions. Produce clerk, you're gonna put out fresh produce on your shift and maybe take away stuff that's maybe doesn't look so great on there and keeping everything fresh. The age requirement for this is 14 to 16, so it does depend. And again, you would just check with your local grocery store when you apply and see what the age requirements are. So that is grocery stores. And now we're gonna move on to retail. So as I said, I'm covering the most basic ones that if you were to ever go into any of these positions, that you kind of know what to expect. But I also, once we kind of get through and we're about to get through the most common ones, I'm gonna touch on some real gems that you maybe wouldn't have thought of that really do sound appealing to do during the summer as well. It just depends on what you're looking for in a summer job. So we're gonna hit retail now. So when we think of retail, we think of clothes, we think of electronics, we think of books. I'm sure some store titles are coming to mind right now as I say all those things. So the most basic entry-level position that when you're working in a retail store is gonna be, it's called brand sales associate or sales clerk. So you're the cashier at the front, but you do a little bit more than that. So it's customer service, you're greeting and assisting customers. Maybe they're looking for a certain product or a certain size in a piece of clothing. That's also knowing the inventory in the back to know where to go get that. And saying that having thorough knowledge of the products in the store, working the register. That could also mean not only processing transactions, but you could be signing people up for the loyalty program or a credit card for the store's credit card. You could also be working the fitting rooms. So I think if you're a people person, this is a really great job. If you like connecting with people and finding what they want, this is a really good one. So kind of like the grocery store. Oh, and the minimum age requirement, if I didn't say, for being a sales clerk is usually 16 for the majority of these. Again, depends. The next one, again, if you want to be out of the public eye, they do have stalker associate or merchandise stalkers. So kind of like the grocery store, you're going to be stocking merchandise. You're going to be kind of making sure that all the shelves are full and all those skinny jeans are out there ready to be bought. I don't know. And you're going to be processing shipments. And you're also going to be maybe like when we go into the store and we see clothes that are marked down and stuff like that, maybe you're doing the discounts and getting those little tags onto the clothes and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more practical. So you kind of get into a routine with that kind of work. So maybe that's up your alley as well. So that's with retail, with clothing, homeware, bookstores, electronics, and stuff like that. But there's other aspects of retail that maybe you wouldn't think of, and they do have specific requirements. So I'm going to touch on those now. Okay, so the next thing in retail, and I separated these next two out in the retail department because their requirements are a little bit more specific, and I do think it might take a unique personality and maybe hobbies and characteristics to work in either one of these. So first one is working retail in an auto parts store. So think of something like O'Reilly's. So for usually to work in a store like this, it's usually 18 and up, but some stores, and I believe O'Reilly's is one of them, they will hire what's called a store counter sales associate as young as 16. So in that position, you are just specifically like ringing up customers on the register. Maybe you're looking in the inventory for something that they're looking for a part. In saying that, you have to be, I would say that if you're stepping into a job like this, you probably maybe already like to tinker with cars. Maybe you have some prior knowledge of automotive parts and equipments and stuff like that. And so you're gonna probably get to, as in this job, get to know the inventory there, know how to search the inventory, work the register. In terms of if you've ever been to a store like this, they will install sometimes like your windshield wiper blades or replace a battery in your headlights. So in this position, you wouldn't do that. You'd have to be 18 and up to do that. So this one, you are just at the store, you're just at the counter sales, basically, the sale counter. But if you like working with cars, maybe this isn't, maybe this is a good place to go and work for the summer. Okay, so now we're gonna start getting some unique stuff. So we're gonna end retail with one more position, and then that's gonna segue into more things. So we are gonna get into the world of working with animals. And I'm pretty sure that sounds really fun for a lot of you. So the last on the retail list is pet store. So with a pet store, I know there's some locally owned pet stores within the area, but I'm looking at big market here, such as like PetSmart or Petco. These two places, the minimum hiring age is 18. Mainly the main fact being that you're going to be handling animals, and they probably want to make sure that whoever they hire is capable of doing that. So maybe you're about to graduate and you're looking for a summer job and you love animals. This is a retail store that maybe you should look into. So what you can expect being a store counter sales associate for a place like Petco or PetSmart. Greet and assist customers, you're gonna be processing transactions, you're gonna be stocking merchandise as well, and you're gonna be handling and taking care of the animals there. So like when we go to a pet store, usually like there, we usually see like the aquariums and have the fish, and we might see like maybe snakes and some gerbils and stuff like that. So in this position, you would be cleaning the cages and handling the animals and feeding them, which actually sounds a lot of fun. So maybe that's the job for you this summer. So that ends retail, but we're still gonna stay in the animal world, so to say, and I'm gonna bring up two animal related positions that maybe you didn't think about. So now this is where we're gonna start getting into some gems that maybe aren't so common that people wouldn't think about, that are and could be available in the Charleston area. So one is pet walking and sitting. So maybe you're popular in your neighborhood. Maybe everyone knows you're good with pets. Maybe they just know you personally, and maybe you could offer to pet sit or walk their dog and come and entertain their cat while they're on vacation. That's a good way to make some money on the side is just by word of mouth. So if that's something that maybe you could offer in your neighborhood or in a group of people that you know, whether it's family or really close friends. But there's also actual legitimate like pet sitting, pet care, pet walking services. There are companies that do hire people and they assign the clients for you and you go and do that. So if you were to work for one of these companies, and there are a few in the Charleston area, there is you'd be called a pet team member. And so the minimum age requirement is 18, and most of these do require a degree. Again, it just depends on the organization. You can call and ask that they usually do want your high school diploma or GED. So again, if you just graduated and you're looking for a summer job, you get to use that degree right away. And so what you can expect to do in this position, if you're hired from one of these companies, is that you would visit the client's homes, and it could be something as small as 15 minutes that you're taking, the dog or cat out for a potty break. You're, playing with them a little bit. Maybe you're refilling their food bowl and water, and you're kind of on their way. Or it can be something a little bit more extensive to where, dog needs a 30-40 minute walk. So you go out and take them for a walk. Or even full pet sitting, that maybe you're there for a full afternoon and the family's on vacation. But usually by that time they put their pets on board in boarding. But it just kind of depends on the needs of the client and what their pets needs. But if you love playing with animals, this is kind of the perfect job for you. And also, when you are pet sitting or pet walking, some of these companies will require that you take pictures of the animals and you send it to the client while you're with them, so the clients know that their pets are okay. So kind of a fun job. And then last on the animal train is working at your local zoo or aquarium, which I'm pretty sure you know which one South Carolina has. If you were to work at one of these, usually at an entry-level position, you would work a position called a guest services associate. Again, the minimum age requirement is 18. I can tell you for the South Carolina Aquarium here in Charleston, the minimum age requirement is 18, and they do require a GED or diploma. So again, fun summer job if you just left, if you just graduated high school. With this, you're going to greet people, work the register and the ticketing system, you're going to answer the phone, you're going to staff the information desk. And with that, they're going to depend on you to educate guests, not just only on the animals that the establishment provides for everyone to see, but also, and that they take care of, but also the conservation programs as well that that organization backs. And sometimes you'll even conduct orientations for school visits. So that's kind of fun. Kids coming in all excited, and it's your job to maybe take them on a tour and show them all the really cool animals that are being taken care of in this place. So yeah, super, super fun. So now we are going to move on to a few more little gems. Okay, so another one, again, maybe you want to work outdoors a little bit. Maybe you still like cars. So your local car wash could be a good place that you go to, that they hire as young as 16 for some of these establishments to be a team member associate. So in this job at your local car wash, such as Finn's or something like that, you would be greeting and assisting customers. And if you go to the car wash now, especially the newer ones, they have kind of like that kiosk where you choose the package that you want. So you would be standing there assisting the customers and helping them find the right package of what they're looking for. Maybe they just want the car washed and they don't want the tires waxed, or maybe they want the whole thing. So that it's your job to kind of help them figure out what they need and to make the right selections. You're also helping them to guide their car on the track and make sure that safety procedures are being followed as their car and them are being taken through the car through, like their windows are up. And then for some places, it just depends. Not every car wash offers this, but some will, ask, do you want your car vacuumed out on the inside? You as an associate, depending on the organization, might be somebody who goes in and vacuums out somebody's car, might wipe down the dashboard and the seats and everything like that. So just a few things, but if you like working in a team member environment and maybe you want to work outdoors a little bit more and you still want to be around cars, this might be a really cool job for you. The next one, if you're a movie buff, maybe you should work at the movie theater. You know, I think that's a job I think I would have liked when I was a lot younger. So entry level for a movie theater would be floor staff. So that's the people that you see when you walk in who, you know, ring you up at the register and get you your ticket. And then that's the people that you see at the concession stands who are getting your popcorn and your drinks and your food ready. Those are the people who are tearing your tickets when you walk in. Those are also the same people who are cleaning the bathrooms and cleaning the movie theaters when you leave the movie that evening. So that's some of the stuff that you can pretty much be expected to do when you're working as floor staff in a movie theater. The minimum age to usually do this is 16. And some other things you'll be doing is managing crowd control. Maybe there's a new movie coming out, midnight showing, and they usually get larger crowds for that. So that's something that that you will help to do, is just to make sure the crowd's in a line and in order, ready to be led in when the time's ready. And then maybe also promoting the loyalty program if your movie theater has one. So yeah, maybe every now and then you get to poke your head in and see a movie, who knows? But if you like a hustle and bustle, I would say, kind of job, I think that's a really good one to work on a Friday or Saturday night. So next couple of jobs. So this next one, if you're a very active person, you know, and when I say fun, I mean, you're gonna feel the aura in this job, and that's working at your local trampoline park. So one of Charleston's local trampoline parks is Sky Zone. Some of the positions that they do offer here, and the minimum requirement to work there is 16. And there's a couple of different jobs that you could do there. It depends what they're hiring for. One would be the sales associate, so that's somebody who you do see at the front, register, processing, all that fun stuff, provide information, answer the phones. So maybe you're not active, but maybe you want to see all the action going on. You're watching from the desk. The next one is called court monitor. So you have a little bit of a responsibility in this one. That's making sure that you're providing assistance and education when people are jumping in on and using the equipment, and that they're doing it safely. And just enforcing safety regulations. It's knowing how to be firm, but still being friendly, and making sure that guests don't hurt themselves while they're having a wonderful time jumping around. That's what you're doing as a court monitor. And I think I haven't been to Sky Zone in a while, or even a trampoline park, but I know in some of them, like, they offer like rounds of like dodgeball or something like that. So usually they'll monitor, like a court monitor will monitor games like that and set the rules and stuff like that, kind of a little referee. And you'll also maintain the cleanliness of the court and making sure there's no obstructions, no garbage or anything like that. So kind of a cool job. And the one other position that a trampoline park might offer is called a party pro, because I'm sure, as you can guess, that a lot of kids like to have their birthday parties at a trampoline park. So being a party pro, you would work with kids and families. So if you like that age range, and if you like that kind of environment, this is a good one for you. They expect you to smile a lot, be happy. You're going to enforce safety regulations and rules. But if you are a party pro, if you're the host of these parties, it's usually up to you to sign in your parties, get waivers signed, get the food set up, clean up everything after, and just really be there for your guests, amongst other things in that. So all of those positions at a trampoline park, it's usually 16 and up to work there. So, okay, so this next position is probably the most unique one on this list. I actually did this job in college. If you're ever curious on what it's like to work in a hospital, obviously you can't be a nurse or a doctor or anything until you start pursuing college for that. But if maybe you want to see maybe the atmosphere of what it's like working in one, this is a great position. So there is a department in the hospital called Central Patient Transport. And so the job title is called Patient Transporter. And so you have to be, the minimum age is 18 years old, and you have to have your GED or your high school diploma to do this job. So basically, it's how it sounds. You are going to be transporting patients. So what I mean by that is, if a nurse calls and they need their patient to be taken to like get a test done, like a CT scan or MRI, you are to go up and you are to get them on a gurney or a wheelchair, and you are to roll them down. If a patient is to be discharged and they're leaving the hospital to go home, you are to take their stuff in them and roll them down in a wheelchair usually. If there's an ICU patient with all the hookups and everything, you would go with a team of nurses and you would drive these beds usually, and you would drive them down to the testing site, stay with them and take them back. It's a very unique position. It's a lot of walking, a lot of moving. Some patients aren't able to move on their own. Most of these patients you will assist usually over onto a gurney or a wheelchair, but some are completely bedridden, so you will have to actually physically pull them over onto these gurneys. And usually you can get a nurse's help or someone like that. But definitely have a lot of strength and stamina. It's a very unique position. But you get to go everywhere in the hospital. So you get to see how all these different departments work. So if you're curious about hospital life or the medical life, this might be a really interesting position for you to take on. MUSC does hire this position if you're to check their website, if they're hiring for it, but that is a position that they do hire and need sometimes, so yeah. Okay, so this might be one of my favorites. I don't know if I'm being a little biased or not. Maybe you want something a little quiet, more low-key, and maybe you love books. Come work at your public library. So when everybody walks in, they think that everybody's a librarian, and that means anybody who puts a book on a shelf. So we do that, all of us do actually. But the specific position is called a page. So pages' jobs are to come in part-time, and they literally reshelve books on the shelves. That's what they do. And they do that pretty much for the entirety of their shifts. Sometimes they'll get special projects, helping with pulled list of books and stuff like that from the librarian or the assistants. And they'll help with that. Maybe some minor clerical tasks and assisting patrons and stuff like that. It is a lot of moving and stooping. It's not as taxing as the central patient transport job, but you know, with this you're moving at your own pace, and it's kind of a nice way to pass the time. And take it from me, the library is a great place to work. So that could also be a really good fit for you during the summer. So another one maybe you wouldn't think of, and we're kind of winding down to the last few on this list here, is hotels and resorts. So with this one, again, the minimum age requirement is 18, and the degree requirement is usually high school diploma or GED. So if you're just graduating, you're just coming out and you're 18. So the main position that you could really do here is what's called guest services front staff desk. So that's when you check into a hotel and they're asking for your, like, you know, they're giving you your room number, your card, they're checking you in, they're, you know, swiping your credit card. They can answer questions about what the hotel has to offer, amenities. They can call a bellhop for you. So that's what a front desk staff does. And yeah, so if you like interacting with patrons, this might be a good job for you. One other job that is hotel and resorts related. Not every hotel or resort's gonna have this, but I know they definitely exist here in Charleston, is having golf courses on there. And so one job, though it does depend on the hotel resort, whether they offer this or even have this as a position, but sometimes you'll find what they're calling for is called a golf cart attendant. So a golf cart attendant, again, they have to be 18, they have to have a GED or a high school diploma. And so with this, they would welcome and greet guests, and they're responsible for upkeeping and cleaning the golf carts before they're passed on to the next guest to use before they go out into the court. They might also help guests wipe down their their clubs and their balls and everything like that and get their equipment back to normal. They might go out into the actual golf course and make sure that the course is ready to go for the next day, and they'll offer general resort information as well. So if you're a golf fan, and again, if you like to kind of be outdoors, maybe this is a cool little job to kind of look for and do as well. Okay, so we are down to our last organization, and there's 3 positions I'm gonna highlight, but this, I will say that this organization is pretty unique and pretty diverse in the positions that it offers, and Charleston County has a lot of them, so yeah. So, the last organization I'm going to talk about are county parks, which if you know, and you've been here a while, that Charleston County has a lot of those. So if you do go on their website and you are to job search, you'll see there's actually quite a bit of jobs. If I'm correct, I think they even have a key that describes all the job positions that they offer and what the requirements are and what you would do in that position, which is really cool. I'm only going to touch on 3 today, and I feel like I picked some pretty unique ones, and it just, again, depends what you're looking for, but check out the site and everything like that, which I'll talk a little bit after this. So the first one I'm gonna talk about that a county park could offer is a lifeguard. So maybe you like to swim a lot, maybe you already have a certification for it, I don't know, which means you probably have it from a previous job. But for instance, Isle of Palms County Park, I've seen on their site that they were looking for a lifeguard at one point, and a park lifeguard, and their age requirement for that one was 16. Now, from what I've kind of seen, each park I think has their own rules and regulations when it comes to hiring. I've seen other county parks where the minimum age is 18. And so with this one, the requirement was 16 for this one. And saying that, being a park lifeguard is probably not the easiest job to obtain. Again, I think it's one of those things that if you love to swim and you're athletic and you're passionate about something like this is a job for you. Just for instance, for this specific position, the additional requirements for this job, you have to complete a physical fitness test prior to being hired. You have to complete the in-house United States life-saving curriculum, and you have to complete South Carolina DHEC emergency medical responder certification after you're hired. Now again, this is specifically for the park lifeguard for Isle of Palms County Park. I don't know if this position's still up, but this is, when I was reading it, this is what they required at the time. And of course, the duties that kind of go with this, as a lifeguard, you're gonna diligently watch the water, beachfront, pool, whatever it is that you're guarding. You're gonna ensure the health, safety, and welfare of park visitors, provide park information when an emergency comes up, that you need to go rescue somebody, and then be able to perform like CPR and things like that. That's what and to provide medical aid, that's part of your job description now. Making sure the lifeguard equipment is up to standards and keeping up with required trainings. So maybe you have to get certain trainings done, recertified annually, or take new training. So that's something that would be with this position. So yeah, if you're all about swimming, saving lives, you're athletic, you're passionate about that, this might be a really good job for you. So the next to last one. So one thing you'll see in the county parks when they're hiring, you'll see park attendant a lot. I think those are the jobs that I think the majority of high schoolers should probably look for. And being a park attendant, it just depends on the park. It depends on the organization in that park and what you're doing. So for instance, this next one is pretty unique. Climbing wall attendant, and this was in James Island County Park. Again, I don't know if they're hiring for this position right now, but the minimum age requirement when I did look at this job online was 15 years old. And so maybe you already rock climb and you would love to be able to work in this environment. It's not just your hobby, but maybe your job now. This is a really cool one. So at this, you're working at the register and you're promoting retail memberships and the courses they offer. You're assisting with the opening and closing of the climbing wall there. You're supervising customers on safe practices in climbing and belaying techniques. You are also belaying customers as necessary, and you're maintaining rental gear storage, following safety and emergency procedures and aspects like that. So I think that's a really cool job for being 15, 16 years old, and you're looking for a really unique environment, kind of hands-on. So I'm pretty sure you kind of get some perks getting to rock climb in there too, so you never know. And so this last position on this list is also at the county park. And again, I mentioned park attendant. So park attendant is pretty broad. It seems like they hire, as with the wall climbing one, as young as 15, but there are specific park attendant jobs that either the minimum is 16 or 18. Again, when you go to look at the position online, pay attention to the age requirement, or you can call and ask. This one is a park attendant, and again, not sure if it's up now, but when I was doing my research, I saw was for Skate Charleston. So maybe you like to skateboard, rollerblade, and everything like that. They do hire park attendants as young as 16. That is the minimum. So in this position, you would provide customer service, you would work the cash register, enforce parking safety rules, make sure everybody's practicing, safe skating or, rules the way that they're supposed to, ensure cleanliness and upkeep of the facilities, like clearing trash and stuff like that. And again, if anybody wants to like buy a hat or a water bottle, I'm not sure what they sell, or they want to rent something, that you would be over that too. So you want to be out there skating on your job, but at least you kind of get to be in the environment. If you're passionate about that, that's something that you kind of want to promote anyway. So I think that's really cool. So that's all the positions. I know that was a lot, but I wanted to make you guys aware that I know when we think of summer jobs or jobs in high school, we immediately usually go to fast food or retail, and those are great jobs because they're very flexible and they pay well for an entry level. You're just starting out. But I wanted to also point out some really great gems that if you have specific hobbies like swimming or rock climbing or cars or books or animals, that there are options for you out there that you could look into. Also included with this video, with this posting, there is a PDF that has links to various organizations and all of those. So there's that you can click on these links to these organizations. It takes you straight to the career page. You could do searches on what kind of positions they're hiring in that time, at that time, and you can go ahead and find the job that you need for the summer. So yeah, I would say my last piece of advice, just in general, that just at any job, because all these require different things, but some of the things that all these jobs are going to kind of require and look at is that A, be on time. Nobody wants a staff member that's always late. B, be flexible. Last minute schedule changes happen and you gotta be able to adapt with that. Be a team player and jump in when needed. Be dependable, that if something comes up, let's say a crisis, but an emergency or maybe a special project, and they're like, oh gosh, who can do this? And they think of you, that's a great thing and that's a great skill to have. Have a really good attitude and be able to work with different types of people and different situations and to get along with people, because most of these jobs you're going to be working in a team pretty much anywhere as you get older. So it's important to be able to work with all sorts and different types of people. But I hope you found all this very informational and helpful. I hope you find the right job for you. Again, see, teens, you are not limited. You have options. And I hope you find the job for you. Again, my name is Amanda, and have a good day.